Hey everybody, welcome to the you know the video, as it were. It's your boy, it's your man's here, Eggland's best, Eggman, Doctor Homeless Nick. you know, um, in all seriousness, though, in the future, I do want to do a Doctor Robotnik thing, of some sort. I was thinking about creating a band, maybe a joke band in the future, if I ever get to that point, of Dr. Robotnik and stuff like that. Um, I don't know. I always liked little bands like that, like, crazy bands and, joke bands and stuff like that. Sorry, I'm going to try to adjust you real quick because this is kind of an impromptu video. I'm now trying to record videos. Um, basically en masse and then upload and then schedule uploads, which you could do that through YouTube and everything. But today's just, event. Earlier I got a message on Facebook. A while back, I actually went through on Facebook and unblocked some people to see if any of them at all would message me in the future or contact me or just to unblock them. It was kind of a challenge to myself to make sure and see if I got through some of the emotional hurdles that I went through over the years and some of the pains and struggles with anger and stuff like that and rage at situations and stuff, and just to see if I've matured and I've grown. And today I got a message from one of those people. He who shall not be named, my former cousin, um, who I cut ties with a long time ago because of the things he did. And I got this. I was walking back from the little convenience store, um, and I got this message when I got down there on the Wi-Fi because my phone is off at the moment. I got on the Wi-Fi there. I seen that I had a notification. I couldn't access the message. So I went down to the Wi-Fi and logged out of one account, went to my personal account, John Montgomery. Um, and that's where I got the message. And I thought it was somebody else who messaged me. But it wasn't, it was him. So, uh, I just have to vent. I just have to talk about it because, it's not only a reflection of what led me down the path that I went down of mental illness years ago and continued mental illness. And up until recently, when I got to Raleigh, really something that kind of, you know, um, has kind of, for the most part, been conquered for me. I feel happier and better than I ever have before, even though things aren't going well or great at times. Been pretty rough, and things have been up and up and down. I've been more at peace, more, just comfortable with the struggle and everything else since I've gotten here than in the last 6, 7, 8, 10 years of my life. Um, but um, so if he's watching this and lurking my YouTube channel, which that's fine. First, let me address him directly. What you said is invalid. What you say is invalid. It'll always be invalid. I appreciate the fact that you thought you could just waltz right in and say, I know I've done a lot of wrong. Sorry. Hope that's cool. Sorry. Um, and and then he, proceeded to say, I love you. Okay. Well, what you did years ago was not love, and I'm going to list what he did, but I just once I'm talking to him, there's not never going to be a reconciliation. The best I can give you now is not to kill you or beat you on sight as soon as I see you, or try to fuck up your life, or try to do anything to you, and just let you live the rest of your goddamn existence. And don't worry about the people you fucked over and you fucked down and you fucking treated like shit and burn bridges with. Just go to future the rest of your goddamn life and live it to the best of your ability and never do that fucking shit again. And I don't know, you may have done that 20 times over. And you're lucky that the Marine Corps you were staying with, or the Marine that you were staying with, who was kind enough to give you a fucking place to stay at that time when you pulled this horse shit, didn't murder you. And you're lucky to be alive. And that's not just from what I would do to you, but just him. And I remember everything, and I remember it clear as day. And as a matter of fact, whenever I got your fucking message, it all just came back. You know, the difference between me then and now is that I put it to rest long ago. And it was one of the, you know, me and my cousin, first of all, let me prerequisite say it. We grew up together basically, you know, kind of both of our families were very close. We were put together constantly. And I've told this story before, but just for the sake of argument, I'm going to tell it again. So years ago when I had my apartment with my ex-girlfriend, or girlfriend at the time, I was working, she wasn't. And my cousin, actually she was working. We had broke up by then, I'm sorry. And she was in there with her boyfriend at the time. A lovely gentleman who sit around and, you know, did whatever. Or no, we were dating at the time. I'm sorry. The details are a little muddy with that period in time. But the fact of the matter of what happened and the fallout remains the same. Either way, whatever the case may be on that. So my cousin was living in Texas at the time. He was married to a girl. And things went wrong there for him in Texas. I had a place to stay. He came back from Texas, came to crash at my apartment. I'm like, all right, cool. You know, I'm like, yeah, man, just come back here. You can stay here. I talked to her. I'm like, my cousin, you know, is going to come here because he's kind of in trouble, and he, you know, we'll share a room. You know, I'll put him in my room. We'll split the room. And this was a townhome style apartment, so there was 2 rooms upstairs. You know, 2 bathrooms, 1.5 bathrooms or whatever, and you know, my room. And the rooms, you know, weren't huge, but they weren't small either. You know, townhome style room. So you know, I'm working at the time. She's working, and we were broke up. I'm sorry, I remember now because she was already in the other bedroom with her, you know, whatever. And you know, he came and stayed with me. During that time, he did not work. During that time, I paid the bills. He did not pay me rent. Yeah, I helped him get his phone back on. Took care of him like family, you know. He didn't have to buy food. He didn't have to really do anything. Really, there was no contribution on that end. At the time, he could have worked through the unions doing concert work in Charlotte. He could have basically had an open ticket with that. And that was it, basically. And he did not do anything around the house. He did not clean. He did not do any chores, anything like that. I didn't expect any of that from him. Like I said, I was trying to help him out. And I knew as soon as he got there, you know, I was in trouble because my cousin, as soon as he got there, he was like, oh, well, my wallet and shit were stolen on the travel and blah, 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 blah. I don't have any money and yada, yada, yada. So, you know, that was kind of the deal. And, you know, my cousin had a history of making up tall tales in the past. And I kind of just put that under the bridge because I'm like, you know, and I mean, really, I was kind of friends with him on Facebook, but I really didn't know exactly. And I knew his wife through passing and stuff. And I mean, it seemed like everything was going fine. And all of a sudden it ended. And, you know, like I said, I was just trying to do the right thing and take him in. You know, we had been very close, you know, when I was younger. And that was kind of the deal, you know. We hadn't been that close in years. And so I get him in there. I knew from the get-go we were in trouble because I left for work that day. There was some beers that I'd bought, put them in the fridge. He ended up drinking all of them and getting sick, throwing up. And then going and hitting on my ex-girlfriend who was living in the house at the time. She was there that day or whatever. Then he went upstairs and went to sleep, and that was it. I talked to her when I got home. I'm like, oh, okay. So this is how we're kind of, I already knew we were in for a short stay because I already knew then that I made a mistake, you know, like, but I was giving him the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, maybe he's just going through something. Maybe something's going on that I don't know about. Maybe something's happening, man. So, you know, we continued, you know, down this path, and I'm thinking, you know, at this point, because she had her, you know, mooch boyfriend in there at the time, new boyfriend. which, you know, the plan was bring him in there and him get a job. And she had, you know, she would have a job, which she did. She had a job already. I was working. We were both working. And then he would get a job. And then I was thinking when my cousin got there, I'm like, well, shit, you know, maybe we can, quadruple up on the rent and everything like that, because the rent wasn't that expensive. We actually got a really good fucking deal on the place. I mean, we were paying at the time for that townhome style apartment like $500 a month, which was unheard of even then. It was like, even that was at least a $600-700 property then. $600 a month, you know, easy. So, you know, I'm thinking, okay, well, if I get him in here and I could somehow get him on somewhere we could get work, you know, maybe he was talking about he had a car over at his mom and dad's place, and I was like, well, maybe he can, you know, get back into the IA thing. And I think he discussed that with me. He was going to go back to the, you know, doing the road work, stuff like that through Charlotte. And, you know, that was be some consistent income or whatever. So he gets there. Things don't go like that. He maybe works once in the 2 months he's there, one day. And that money went toward, you know, himself. I'm like, you know, just keep whatever you get right now, man, till work picks back up. And I was thinking at the time, you know, that work was slim, something like that. You know, I was buying into what he did because I never did the IA work or the you know, basically the stage setup work and stuff like that in Charlotte. So I had no idea. I was just taking him for his word. But basically, he was choosing not to work. And like I said, you know, I bought him cigarettes. I did whatever I had to do to take care of him and try to help him, you know, get along until he could figure something out. And, you know, after 2 months, I was like, I'm done with it. So, you know, I basically had to come to Jesus meeting with him. I'm like, man, I can't do this. We already got another motherfucker living here who ain't paying rent and shit, who ain't doing shit. And I need you to go along, man. I need you to, you know, call your mom and dad, man, which were still, you know, my Aunt Kathy and Uncle Fred were still alive at the time. I'm like, you need to call them, man, and, you know, go there. Because I'm like, I can't do this, man. So, you know, basically he left. Okay. So he leaves, and about, I want to say maybe a month or two after that, I get a message from him or whatever. Or, you know, we continue to be on Facebook after that. We continue to be, you know, whatever. At that point, I'm just kind of like, whatever, man. I mean, you know, I'm not pissed at him, but I'm like, you know, I can't, you know, he hadn't done anything to piss me off really except not do shit. And I mean, it really didn't piss me off. It just got, you know, to the point where it's like, I can't do this, you know, like I'm not going to work and support you and do this stuff when I'm barely making enough to ends meet right now. And once again, we already got another motherfucker in here who ain't paying rent. And that was a bridge I let go way too far for way too long. And thinking she would handle that situation pretty quickly, but apparently she was just fine with working and paying his bills while he sat at home and did nothing. You know? And at least he went and got his food stamp card and would try to help out with groceries, I guess, or feed himself or something. I don't know. But either way, and I wasn't making much money at the time. I was making $9-10 an hour managing a photo lab at Walgreens down the road. The only job I could reasonably get without transportation and stuff. I got kind of locked into a financial, you know, basically death spiral there, because whatever money I could put forward or whatever just went to bills, you know. And that was partly because of the cat situation. We had cats. I'm here to tell you, man, like, I love animals to death, don't get me wrong. But if you have goddamn animals, get ready to basically fucking... Animals are damn near worse than kids now when it comes to cost of living. I mean, literally, it's almost more expensive to have a human, or it's almost cheaper to have a human baby than it is to have like a fucking dog or cat. I mean, a couple of vet visits and all this shit, and next thing you know, man, you're kicking out $300-400 fucking dollars consistently for dick all nothing. And it's very expensive. And God knows exotics. I mean, that's just cats and dogs, but God knows exotics, man, you get into fucking big money, man. You get into big fucking money. You better have a lot of money before you take on a pet. But anyways, I digress. So a couple months later, I'm still on his Facebook or whatever. And basically one day this post pops up, and it immediately sets me to fuck off, because it's a post that he's saying that he is claiming he had a child who died, and that never happened. And he had a child who died, and then another, so I message him immediately, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? This never happened. I'm like, dude, what is this shit? Like, is this a joke or something? Or is this some kind of sick joke? And then he starts to double down on the lie. He's like, I had this baby that died and blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden he was like, I got cancer. I think that was another thing that set me off, is like almost immediately after that, he was talking about he had cancer. And I'm like, all right. So I messaged him directly. I'm like, dude, what the fuck is going on? What are you talking about? Like, when did you have a child that died? This never happened. This never, because me and him, I was the closest, one of the closest people to him throughout his entire life. Trust me. If this boy ever had a baby, I would have known about it immediately. If this boy ever had a baby that died, I would have known about it immediately. And he claimed that he had this child that died. Now, bearing in mind, going back a little bit on my cousin's history, he had a child, and the child was living. The child was with a former woman that he was associated with, married with, girlfriend, whatever. And that ended on circumstances that were weird. Basically what happened was he caught charges for essentially getting pissed off and throwing the phone at the baby, or somehow the phone hit the baby or something to that effect. That was the story at the time. That was what I was told by at least people in the know around the situation of what happened with the charges with that. Now, what happened, I don't know. What exactly happened, I don't know. But that's just to let you know where we led up to this point. Okay, so he's going on with this narrative, and I confront him, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is fucked up, man, because my mom died of cancer. I had several aunts who died, basically of cancer. My Aunt Margaret died after she got wounded in a tub while she was going through chemo treatment, and got very severely burned when she passed out, and fell into a hot tub of water, basically. Horrific, thing. Got infected, infections and stuff like that from that, and basically passed away. And my Aunt Becky just straight up died of it, and so did my mom. My mom went through cancer the first time, ovarian cancer, and then she was within that 5-year window, and it popped back up. And basically her body was not able to fight it off the second time. But knowing that, he's sitting there creating this, so you could obviously see it. I mean, I'm sorry. I want to offer some, whatever you guys want to say about my perception of this, and my feel free, because God knows people have offered fucking advice on this shit in the past and said, you know what, man, you should just, let it go, whatever. Let whatever go, let bygone. And like, there's just some things in my life that I cannot forgive, and this is not what is unforgivable to me. It's the fact that he doubled down on this lie. So then, once I confronted him, I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you out of your mind? What are you talking about? And then he came up with, and I mean, literally, this is, and I don't know what he was doing at the time, what he was thinking. He had lost his goddamn mind or something. He was on something, or he was doing something, but he had lost his fucking mind. Because then the story came out that he was in the Marine Corps, that he was a veteran. My cousin has never served in the armed services. He has never been in the armed services. He has never even come close to being in the armed services. My cousin, when he was born, he had to have a procedure done that left a gigantic scar on his head. Basically, an alignment of the skull had to be redone. And apparently when we were growing up, the story was that if he even received a punch to the head, it could be enough, or any kind of slight traumas to the brain, to the skull. We always had to be very careful when playing when kids. It could kill him instantly. That was the narrative. That was the story. So a person with that medical condition is not going to be able to serve in the goddamn military. Point blank, period. It's hard enough to get in any kind of armed services being a perfectly healthy human being. And trust me, if in the military your eyesight is a little bit off, you do not qualify for the military. You have to literally be a picture perfect specimen to get in the military. Especially not with something like that going on, right? So we got into it, man, and I let him have it. You know, I was like fucking, and then somewhere along the way, he tried to get me to contact my other cousin to verify this, which I did not do because it's like, I'm not going to contact her to tell, you know, to say what I already know, man. And he was just, I mean, like I said, this was just getting off the rails at this point. So we had this dialogue over several days. I'm like, dude, and then he calls me, or we have a phone call, and I'm like, yeah, call me. I'm like, well, what the fuck is going on? Because he started escalating threats toward me. So I'm like, why don't you fucking call me and say this shit, bro? I get off of whatever, because we were messaging back and forth throughout the day whenever I go on my breaks and whatever, because I'd messaged him that morning. I'm like, what the fuck is this, dude? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And you know, he starts to escalate it, and he's like, you know, I'm gonna fucking do this and I'm gonna fucking do that, blah 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 blah. I was in the Marines, bitch. I'm gonna fucking whatever. And I'm like, dude, just fucking. I'm like, call me, motherfucker. I'm like, call me and you come down here. I'm like, come down. I get off at this time. I want you to be in that fucking parking lot when I get the fuck off, because I am going to beat the goddamn brakes off of you. Okay, so he calls me, and I'm like, dude. And I was trying to reason with him at the time. I'm like, dude, what the fuck is going on with you, man? Like, what are you talking about with this bullshit? This is fucking, like, you know our family history. You know what we've been through. You know how many family members we've lost to cancer. Why are you talking this shit? And I'm like, you don't have cancer, bro. I'm like, prove it. Prove that you have cancer. But I'm like, you especially didn't have a child that died. I'm like, what are you doing? So basically, the thing that became unforgivable for me was that during that point in the conversation, he said shit about my mother who had died. He was talking about, basically, your mother's in hell, your mom's rotten in hell, blah, 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 talking shit about my mother. And I'm like, you know what? You're fucking dead to me, dude. I'm like, if I ever see you on site, I'm fucking killing you. Like, I'm fucking killing you, dude, because it's not just saying something bad about my mother. Understand, my mother and my dad, whenever he would come over, he was treated as their son. He was treated and taken care of, like whatever he wanted to eat, whatever he wanted to do, whatever he wanted. I mean, my mother provided for him just like his parents provided for me. Don't get me wrong. Whenever I go stay at his house, they would do great things for me. Both families took care of each other. So to sit there and basically say that kind of fucking deranged horse shit about my mother. So anyways, to make a long story short, I would never forgive him. And also, he had somehow worked his way into a relationship with a person who was a former Marine, because whenever I was questioning his certificates or whatever, he showed me this picture that didn't really say the names or whatever of his certificate from the Marine Corps. And I'm like, where the hell did you get that? And it was taken in a house. I seen he was in a house, and I'm like, where the fuck are you? And apparently he had talked shit to the Marine whenever he got off of work or whatever. And the Marine contacted me, and I told him, I'm like, look, man, this is the deal. I'm like, my cousin has never been in the services. This is what he's been claiming. I provided screenshots of whatever he said. And I'm like, dude, this is what it is. And I'm like, I apologize to you. I had no idea he was at your home or whatever, but I was coming for him. I'm like, you know, I didn't care about anybody else, because he was talking, just like I said, out of his mind shit. Whenever we were talking shit to each other, and it was degrading into a fucking shouting match, is it was turning into a goddamn, basically, if you step on the property, like just out of your mind shit, talking about he was going to have snipers there to fuck take me out, man, like some fucking Call of Duty, you know, modern war crimes game shit, you know, like he has his squad there, and they got fucking 360 no scopes on the fucking grassy knoll, bro. I'm like, what? I'm like, fucking, what are you talking about? So, and ever since then, he was dead to me. Period. Point blank. Period. He's dead to me, and he'll always be dead to me. And he offered to help me right now. You know, and I refuse. I refuse. I would rather die a million times in the goddamn gutter of fucking AIDS, syphilis, the most horrible diseases, the most horrible afflictions, rotting in the fucking gutter like a dog before I ever accepted a goddamn thing from him. And that's just point blank period. I don't give a fuck if he's a millionaire right now and he's like, bro, I'm gonna give you $200,000. Fuck that. Fuck your money. Fuck you. There's things more important than fucking money in this world. There's things, and I live by that, fucking motto, man. Like, money can't buy everything. Money can't buy forgiveness with me. I'm sorry, it can't. Money can't buy complacency with me. You know, if somebody came up tomorrow who's a racist and said, we're going to give you all the money for the rest of your life and a home and everything else, and we're going to give you all these things, but all you have to do is just turn a blind eye while we murder minorities or whoever, you know, no. I mean, and like I said, fuck him. You know, and I mean, I could contact him right now and be like, yeah, you know, the back rent you owe me from those 2 months you fucking stayed at my goddamn place and I bought your food and cigarettes and everything else. That'd be fucking great, dude. That'd be great. You know, kick me back, all that, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to do it. I'll never do it. And, you know, I've evolved a lot because a conversation or that contact or whatever 6 years ago, 5 years ago, 7 years ago, hell, even a year ago, probably would have put me down a really mentally negative path. But today it was just like, I'm okay with this. I'm okay with never associating with this fucking person again. And once again, if you're watching this, I'm not going to say your name because I've said your name in other videos and I'm not going to say it again. You just go live your goddamn life and forget I ever fucking existed, dude. And I'll tell you what, you know, you want to make it right, you want to do something, then go out there and donate every goddamn dime you fucking got to spare to cancer research, St. Jude's, children's fucking therapy, every goddamn thing that deals with the shit you lied on and the shit you said at that time. And you do that for the rest of your goddamn life. And you work and you break your goddamn back every fucking day to make that extra money to give to those organizations for the rest of your fucking life. That's the only way you're ever going to make it right. And that's the only way you're ever going to make it fucking solid with not me. I don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. And I know you're probably a fucking Christian and you're probably, you know, touting God or whatever the fuck you're doing now to get whatever the fuck you got. Good. Go to the temple. You take it up with your God. You take it up with your fucking deities. You take it up with your goddamn temple. You come to peace with that. And as far as I'm concerned, that's the only thing you could ever fucking do to even come close to touch what the fuck you said at that time. You said you had a baby that fucking died and that you had cancer and you only had a couple months to live. Let's see, what time is it now? 10 years later, and what the fuck? You ain't dead yet. And if you are dead, you learn how to use fucking Facebook Messenger from the grave, bro, because you're fucking contacting me, saying that shit, telling them lies. I love you. And see, I'm going to reiterate something real quick. I know this video is long, but I'm going to say this is one of the goddamn people. This is why I might die alone and I can't trust women. I can't trust dudes. I can't trust people, period. This is one of the people who literally destroyed my fabric of love and trust and everything. And ever since then, I've had to work like a dog to repair myself, to become a better person, to become a loving, you know, a person who can accept love or any kind of feelings of love again. So you take that as it is. And I mean, if you're watching this, that's what you did. That's the real damage you fucking did. You might as well have put a noose around my neck because not too long, a couple years later, I tried to put a noose around my neck. So you might as well have put that fucking noose around my neck, dude. So that's it. I'm done. Sorry I had to vent. I'm getting a little choked up here. Not because I'm crying, because of the fucking pollen. But thank you for watching. I appreciate it. I love you guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you can. Please share this video if you can. It helps me out a lot. And thank you for watching, and thank you for letting me talk.